You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5.
Coming up, the newest track of Hurricane Florence, the new concerns of Carolina residents as the path shifts south.
Plus, what police in California say led to a man shooting and killing 5 people, including his own wife.
And some Sarasota County residents are hoping commissioners change their minds on short-term property rentals. Good Morning Suncoast starts right now. And good morning, inching our way toward the weekend. I'm Ray Collins.
And I'm Stephanie Webb. Thanks for waking up with us. It is Thursday, September 13th. Let's head over to First Alert meteorologist John Scalzi for the latest dino forecast.
Did you by any chance hear the thunder last night? Wow.
Bedtime.
Man, did it come down in places, buckets actually. The storms behaved pretty much as predicted, building inland and moving to the coast, though we had a few more of them around than I thought we would have. I think today we'll probably trim back the number of storms that we get just because some drier air is starting to filter in, plus the wind field's going to be kind of light. So lots of lightning around, not much on radar right now. As we head into the afternoon, our temperatures will climb from where they are now in the mid-70s back up to close to 90. We'll have the complete forecast for you coming up in a few.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking the roads. First off, this is the scene in Manatee County. Not much to speak of so far. Let's move on now to the northern half of Sarasota County. A little blip there. First off, on 301 northbound between Fruitville and University around 10th Street, perhaps. Also Fruitville westbound around Beneva. And then there's our South County map. Not much to speak of at 5:01 on your Thursday morning. Right now, Hurricane Florence, now a Category 2 storm. Its path has since shifted again overnight.
That's right. ABC's Emily Rao is in Wilmington, North Carolina, tracking all the latest conditions.
From Maryland to Virginia, the Carolinas, and now even farther south to Georgia, millions are bracing for Florence.
It's going to be frightening. It's a scary sight, and it's not going to be good what's going to be coming. So.
With the window to evacuate now closing,
please leave now.
Hospitals in Myrtle Beach racing to get patients out of danger after the storm shifted south.
We're trying to get everybody out, and as such, we're shutting the hospital down.
Those left near the coast hunkering down. Tom Pale, a commissioner in the Outer Banks, estimates hundreds of residents are staying put.
The people who are living here and make a decision to not evacuate are making that decision with full knowledge of what that means.
The massive system is churning closer and could bring a deadly storm surge. A 13-foot wall of water predicted in some areas with a 1-2 punch of up to 40 inches of rain.
Hopefully all these houses will be here when we get back because, I mean, we love this beach. We live here year-round.
Officials worried about flooding at this nuclear power plant in North Carolina, along with 15 other reactors in 3 states, as the eye of the storm swirls closer. Florence is still moving slowly, and people along the coast are prepared to be without power for days or even weeks. In fact, armies of power crews are already headed to the southeast, anticipating mass outages. Emily Rao, ABC News, Wilmington, North Carolina.
And new numbers on the amount of first responders from Florida heading north to Carolina. The governor's office confirms that the Florida Department of Health is sending 30 nurses to help in special needs shelters. 5 ambulance strike teams going to help with medical evacuations, and more than 2,000 utility crews and several volunteer teams from the Salvation Army and American Red Cross have already arrived to help first responders.
And here on the Suncoast, SRQ airport officials say they are monitoring Florence and any effects that the storm may have on flights going in or out of the airport. Now, here's the advice that they have right now. If you have a flight that is heading up the East Coast over the next couple of days, make sure you check with your airline for any airline changes. And also, a good idea is to sign up for email or text alerts, because airlines will also typically send an email or text with any changes to your possible flight plans.
Our advice to passengers would be to check with their airline, especially starting tomorrow afternoon. You may start to see some impacts from the storm depending on how it moves. And then certainly Friday, by the looks of things, is when it'll have its biggest impact on the coast there. And
Now, we did some homework, and right now SRQ has 3 flights that regularly go to Charlotte, 7 to Atlanta, and then 1 to Washington, D.C. daily. And remember, while Hurricane Florence will not impact the Suncoast, there is a reminder there's still 2.5 months left in hurricane season. So if you still need to get your plan in place, it is a perfect time to do so. You can find tips on our free ABC7 app, plus our free and printable 2018 Hurricane Guide. Well, it has been months since red tide showed up here on the Suncoast this season, the most severe many say that they've seen in years.
And now Florida Fish and Wildlife says it's showing no signs of stopping. Marla Spence joins us now live from the Palmasola Causeway in Manatee County. Marla?
Well, guys, it's relatively clean out here compared to what we've been seeing over the past few months and weeks here on the Suncoast. And it shows no signs of slowing down because FWC did release a report revealing that there are high levels of red tide still here on the Suncoast. Now, there are a few dead fish out here as well as wildlife debris out here, but that is in no way any indication that red tide has slowed down. Now, the Florida Fish and Wildlife took samples and the results were revealed yesterday. It showed high concentrations of red tide in samples collected in and offshore in Sarasota, Manatee, and Charlotte counties. Marine experts say this is an increase from last week in Sarasota and Charlotte counties. As you may can imagine, many people, including residents and businesses, have been impacted by red tide. One church on Anna Maria Island is doing its part to help as much as possible. 2 weeks ago, Roser Church opened its doors to restaurant staff and just about anyone who has been impacted by red tide. They've been giving away food from the church's food pantry, and this is one person who works there, and this is what they had to say.
All people, Holmes Beach, Bradenton Beach, Anna Maria, we all come together to assist the people on the island.
And Charles Wade with that food pantry says he's been seeing an increase, and mostly the people who's coming into his food pantry have been fishermen who usually go out and catch fish for several restaurants on the island. He says most of those people who need help are fishermen. And tomorrow FWC will be releasing another red tide report. We'll just be waiting to see if the red tide levels have gone up or if they are going to go down. Reporting live on Palmasola Causeway, I'm Marla Spence for ABC7, your Suncoast News.
And don't forget, you can find all our red tide coverage, including answers to your most frequently asked questions, online at mysuncoast.com/redtide.
Well, new this morning, police in California are investigating a mass shooting. Police there say that the gunman is dead, but not before killing 6 people, including his own wife. Now, police say all the trouble started shortly after a man and his wife arrived at a trucking business. The suspect then shot and killed a man there at the business, then turned the gun on his own wife. Another person that came onto the scene was chased and shot by the gunman as well. A deputy then pulled over the suspect, who then shot himself. Now, the entire incident took place in about 10 to 15 minutes. They're now looking at multiple shooting scenes and interviewing dozens of witnesses to try to piece this whole story together.
New developments out of Kentucky, where a man suspected in a string of area bank robberies here was killed in a shootout. U.S. Marshals say they shot and killed this man, 57-year-old Edward Reynolds, at a rest area on I-75 after they say he shot at a sheriff's deputy. Reynolds was suspected in robbing a bank in Venice, Punta Gorda, Cape Coral. In the meantime, that sheriff's deputy is in serious condition and colleagues are concerned.
I told him I loved him and that we all loved him and that we'd be with him and he was going to get through this, and we're all going to pull together and get him through it.
That is the deputy right there. Police have been searching for Reynolds for the past several months.
And an update now on an accident that left roads blocked in Northport for several hours on Tuesday night. A woman has been arrested after causing a 5-car crash at US 41 and Salford Boulevard. Now, before officers arrived, Kristen McKinney tried to drive off, but other drivers in the area actually helped to stop her. Investigators say she hit a truck with her car, which then crossed a concrete median, hit another car head-on. Several other cars suffered damage in that same crash. 2 people were injured and taken to the hospital. Now, witnesses say McKinney was speeding through the construction area, ran a red light. Police say the car she was driving had been reported stolen. McKinney is now facing multiple charges this morning.
Developing overnight, some Sarasota County residents want commissioners to change their stance on short-term rentals, including Airbnbs. They say the county is now cracking down on anybody who rents out their homes for less than 30 days. Opponents are asking for rentals to be weekly or maybe even daily. Sarasota County has made nearly $1 million over the past year from the new Airbnb tax.
It wouldn't be just do a free-for-all. It would be basically let's make some regulations, let's make some efforts to keep it under control, but still allow it so we still generate income for the businesses that are struggling right now, especially with red tide.
There would be no siesta key, as I said, except for a bunch of rich people who had big houses. But I think also it's an invasion of people's property rights and their privacy.
After hearing public comment, commissioners decided not to take any action, at least for now. 5:10 right now, still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast. Apple unveils their newest technology. We'll tell you what you could expect from the latest line of iPhones.
And later in the hour, thousands of pallets of water found sitting on a boat in Puerto Rico. Why in the world FEMA says it was never distributed after Hurricane Irma. But first,
it is 5:10 right now. Here's a shot outside our studios. Yeah, certainly last night about 9:30, John, loud thunder throughout the Suncoast, huh?
Yeah, and I think the timing of the storms will probably be pretty similar. We'll go with about a 20% chance of showers by 3 p.m. and then maybe about a 30% chance close to the coastline during the evening. We've checked on the drive time forecast, the rain box. Again, like yesterday, not for the commute to work, but for the commute back home. There may be a few thunderstorms around, particularly in inland areas, but they will slowly drift toward the coast as they dissipate. Forecast in a minute.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
From the moment she walked in the door, we stopped having to go to the pharmacy. Certain prescriptions, my health plan or the pharmacy wasn't even able to get here. And hospice provided them, and all we had to do was call up, and the next thing they know, there was another, a delivery.
We're losing exotic animals on a daily basis, and the ones that we have in captivity are really the ambassadors for their wild counterparts. I'm Clayton Rozier from the Big Cat Habitat and Gulf Coast Sanctuary, housing over 150 exotic animals that needed a great home. And if you love animals, please help them. Do it locally. Support your local no-kill shelters, your local wild animal sanctuaries. Make a difference where you can.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
We believe in patriotism. We believe in our nation's youth. We believe veterans earn their benefits through their service to our nation. We believe in a strong national security. We believe in our country. For 100 years, veterans have been impacting our nation through the American Legion, and we believe it makes a difference. If you believe, learn more at legion.org/webelieve.
Saturdays at midnight on ABC 7. Now your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
So 77-degree air temperature, dew point value coming in at 76. It's a warm, sticky start to the morning with an east wind still in progress. But that east wind should lighten up just a little bit and allow for a better sea breeze this afternoon, pushing our rain chance to about 20% by 3 p.m. Not much of a rain chance during these morning hours. In fact, we'll have a fair amount of sunshine. And then the showers which build inland will slowly drift back to the coast. Titan radar quiet right now. Expected to be that way for the next, probably 10 hours or so. We have, of course, Florence. This is a satellite view, but a water vapor imagery showing a snapshot of where the moisture is, where it is not, and flow patterns in the atmosphere. You'll notice this kind of tan color is some dry air around the periphery of the storm. What goes up must come down, and the thunderstorm activity inside the hurricane actually turns into sinking air on the periphery of the hurricane. Sinking air dries out and produces less rain showers. That's what's kind of headed our way around the periphery of the storm as it gets closer to the Carolinas. So consequently, our rain chance may go down just a little bit. Futurecast put into motion shows those showers building in the afternoon around 2, 3 o'clock in inland areas. Sea breeze front carrying them perhaps a little further inland. And then as the sea breeze front starts to collapse, those showers will kind of return closer to the coastline and eventually just fizzle out. So that's the same sort of timing that we had yesterday. If you look at the rainfall forecast over the next 24 hours, the heaviest of the stuff is mostly inland, and I think that'll be true along the sea breeze boundary. The thing is, we've had some red tide around here, and it's gotten worse. I think what we'll see over the course of the next 24 hours as Florence begins to get closer to the Carolinas is our easterly wind flow start to reverse just a little bit, and we'll get more of a westerly wind flow again as we head into the weekend. That could bring some of those red tide toxins closer to the coast. So the east wind pattern shifts over the next 24 hours. Some drier air moves in, reducing rain chances. And Florence has actually weakened just a little bit. We've got 4 hurricanes on the map right now, or 4 tropical systems we're watching. Florence now down to a Category 2 storm with 110-mile-per-hour winds. Forecast track remains unchanged. That's good news, but certainly the storm is forecast to weaken just a little bit, and that's what we will see, I think, as it makes landfall over the course of a 2 or 3 day period. West wind comes in at about 10 knots, and the forecast for us over the next several days features a 30% chance of showers later this afternoon. Drier conditions tomorrow and Saturday, I think. Then maybe as that storm system begins to sink into areas of Georgia, we might get a few of those showers kind of slung back this way as we head into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Kind of up the rain chances just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, thank you so much, John. Let's take a look outside and check on your morning commute with our first alert traffic starting off in Manatee County. Not much here. Pretty slow out there this morning. Easy commute so far. In Sarasota County, those roads are also looking pretty decent out there. No real delays. And if you are going to be headed a little bit farther south along 75 or 41, both of those are running pretty smooth as well this morning. That is your first alert traffic at 5:18. Well, in consumer news, I feel like there should be some music playing someplace. It was a big day for Apple as they unveiled their latest and biggest iPhones and iWatches and gadgets, including that new Apple Watch that could also save your life. Because of course it can. Of course it can.
Want one of those.
Yeah.
Reporter Mary Maloney has details of Apple's annual event in today's Consumer Watch.
Apple is supersizing. The tech giant unveiled its latest line of products at their headquarters in Cupertino, and they're big, really big. Among the newest gadgets,
this is iPhone XS.
Apple upgraded its high-end iPhone X. At 6.5 inches, the iPhone XS Max is Apple's biggest and most expensive smartphone ever, with a hefty price tag to match, starting at $1,099. The 5.8-inch option is called the iPhone XS. Apple touted upgraded features on both devices, including a 12-megapixel camera with bigger sensors and an improved HDR mode. The lower-end iPhone XR was also introduced on stage. It comes in several fun colors. And watch this.
It's just beautiful.
Apple's latest version of its watch is thinner and promises improved health and fitness features. The fourth-generation device comes with a larger screen that monitors your heart rate and can call for help if it detects you've fallen. Apple says it's the first over-the-counter ECG device approved by the FDA that can track heart conditions.
All ECG recordings, their classifications, the noted symptoms, they're all stored right in the Health app in a PDF you can share with your doctor.
And Apple is going green. It promoted its recycling program called Give Back that buys your old devices or recycles them for free. For Consumer Watch, I'm Mary Maloney.
My goodness, so much good stuff right
it's
there.
Like a commercial for Apple right here, I swear.
I know. Well, still to come on Good Morning Suncoast. Speaking of that, we're going to go in depth on a few of their new bigger products, especially when it talks about how long the batteries are going to last, which is always a big concern, and the brand new operating system and when that is going to come to your phone as well.
And next half hour, the latest on Mote Marine's plan to build this 100
spaceship.
Isn't that amazing? Look at that thing, $130 million aquarium at Benderson Park. Who's going to pay for that? Well, that story coming up. First, here is a look at Wilmington, North Carolina.
That is right. And that sign right there, that Pray for Wilmington sign, very reminiscent of what this area was going through about a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
About a year ago. So thoughts and prayers are with them. We'll have more on the track of Florence coming up. You're watching Good Morning Suncoast right here on ABC 7.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
When it comes to drinking, what do you think moderation is? The U.S. Dietary Guidelines define moderation as up to 1 drink a day for women and up to 2 drinks a day for men. So what's a drink? The guidelines say a drink equals 12 ounces of beer, 5 ounces of wine, or a cocktail with 1.5 ounces of distilled spirits. Each contains the same amount of alcohol. Like to learn more? Visit drinkinmoderation.org.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
Coast Guard, we are taking on water.
The United States Coast Guard. They secure our ports and waterways, protect our environment, keep drugs away from our kids, and save lives. It's dangerous work. And in times of triumph or tragedy, the Coast Guard Foundation answers the call to support Coast Guard members and their families. Learn more at coastguardfoundation.org.
Watch Saturdays at midnight on ABC 7. Premieres September 8th.
You want to see some behind-the-scenes pictures of what Stephanie Webb does between
no one needs to see
news segments? We've got all sorts of goodies for you on our respective websites. Stop by, like the page, make a comment, and we'll always be writing back to you as well.
Absolutely, we sure will. And Ray has lots of pictures of really beautiful pictures of Sarasota.
I do.
You're like a Visit Sarasota tourism, extra tourism site.
Imagine that. All right, 5:24 right now.
Well, speaking of Apple, we are still learning more details about Apple's latest operating system coming to your iPhone very soon.
The story in today's Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, Apple's big announcement, including its iPhones.
The biggest one is the new iPhone XS Max. It has a 6.5-inch screen and an $1,100 price tag. There's also a XS, which has a slightly smaller screen, and it costs $1,000. Apple also introduced a new watch, the Series 4.
It has a bigger screen than earlier watches and includes an FDA-approved heart sensor, which can detect irregular heart rates and perform other functions. It starts at $400, and you can pre-order the new watch and those new iPhones starting tomorrow. And Apple's new operating system will launch next week.
Users will be able to download iOS 12 on Monday. Also available on that day, new software updates for its HomePod, smart speaker, and Apple TV.
Well, those are your Tech Bites.
Have a great day.
Tech Bites, sponsored by Sherwin-Williams Paint.
See a little blood when you brush or floss? You may have gum disease and could be on a journey to much worse. Try Parodontax toothpaste. It's 3 times more effective at removing plaque, the main cause of bleeding gums. Leave bleeding gums behind with Parodontax toothpaste.
How do you top mac and cheese? Start with 100% clean ingredients, like Vermont white cheddar. Then add bacon, barbecue chicken, or Baja blend. Catering and delivery now available. Panera, food as it should be.
The final 2018 Accord clearance is now during our model year-end clearance sale. Drive new Accords for just $249 a month. Get an Accord, the North American car of the year, for less than the competition. With more standard features than Camry, Honda Sensing, multi-angle camera, turbocharged engine, and more. New Accords, just $249 a month. Your last chance for new Accords. All on clearance this week at your local Honda dealer.
How do you open tough jar lids? Do you try this one? Or this one? Or how about this one?
Honey!
This is the future. Shouldn't there be a robot for this by now? There is. Introducing RoboTwist, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids. Just set it down, press the button, and watch it work. First, the RoboStrong vise locks down tight. Then the powerful twisting action unscrews the lid. RoboTwist is yours for the special introductory price of just $19.99. That's right, the robotic jar opener that easily twists off even the toughest lids. All for just $19.99. Whether the jar is big or small, RoboTwist can open them all. Supplies are limited, so don't delay. Here's how to get yours today.
Call 1-800-347-1073. That's 1-800-347-1073. Or order online at buyrobotwist.com.
Are you a soccer mom or dad? Regardless of their age or experience level, when your kids play soccer or any other sport, there's one person on the sideline who is key to help recognize and seek medical care for sports-related concussion. It's you. You need to know the signs and symptoms of concussion, and you need to act if you think your child has been injured. Remember, when in doubt, sit them out. To learn more, go to cdc.gov/concussion. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, it's not just about trying new things.
Tanya, come here.
Learning the right steps. 2, 3, 4. Or making contact. It's not just about exploring the future. It's about helping them build it. It's about making the connection. It's about proving every kid and teen who enters our doors has what it takes. Great futures start here.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
You're watching Good Morning Suncoast at 5:30.
Coming up, President Trump front and center in the government's response to Hurricane Florence. Why he's under renewed criticism this morning for his remarks on Hurricane Irma and Puerto Rico.
Plus, new developments on Moat Marine's plan to build this huge aquarium at Nathan Benderson Park, including where that $130 million may come from.
And how the number of guardians hired to protect students in Manatee County schools continues to grow. Some good news this morning. We have those stories plus your Thursday forecast this half hour on Good Morning Suncoast. And good morning to you. It is 5:30. I'm Stephanie Webb.
I'm Ray Collins. Let's get to that forecast now. Here he is, folks. Meteorologist John Scalzi.
Becky in Omayaka, our longest weather watcher, a 20-year weather watcher here at the station, said she built an ark yesterday. She got 2 inches of rainfall in 2 hours, so it came down hard and heavy, and there was plenty of lightning to accompany it. Right now, things are pretty quiet on the forecast. Temperatures generally in the mid to upper 70s most everywhere you look, a little cooler inland. And of course, Florence has had some changes in its intensity and structure over the last 24 hours, which possibly might be some good news. Forecast for today calls for a daytime high topping out in the low 90s, 20% chance of rain by 3 p.m., better rain chance during the evening. Forecast in a minute.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you, John. Checking first alert traffic. Some early buildup there on State Road 70 westbound as you get to Lockwood Ridge Road, otherwise pretty clear in Manatee County. Checking farther south, 301 northbound around 10th Street as you head toward University, and South County, one little blip there around Tarpon Point as you drive through Northport. And before we talk about Hurricane Florence, Tropical Storm Olivia has made landfall in Hawaii. Olivia first hit Maui, bringing with it flooding and 45-mile-per-hour winds. The storm is closing roads and causing thousands to lose power there. Forecasters predict Olivia could dump as much as 15 inches of rain on Hawaii. And right now, President Trump says the government is ready for Hurricane Florence, warning those in the storm zone to evacuate to a safe place.
This while also trading insults with the mayor of San Juan as he faces backlash over his assessment of just how his administration responded to last year's Hurricane Maria. ABC's Janae Norman has the latest from Washington.
F-22s hitting the sky. Apache helicopters being relocated. It's all part of how the federal government is preparing ahead of Hurricane Florence.
First responders, law enforcement, and FEMA, and they're all ready.
President Trump with this warning.
Get out of its way. Don't play games with it. It's a big one. It's called Mother Nature. You never know, but we know.
As the president stands ready to face whatever Hurricane Florence brings, he's still facing backlash for touting his handling of devastating Hurricane Maria, insisting his administration did an unappreciated great job in Puerto Rico and calling the mayor totally incompetent.
Puerto Rico was an incredible, unsung success.
Maria killed nearly 3,000 people, making it one of the deadliest hurricanes in modern American history. And there's growing controversy surrounding the response. Images of hundreds of pallets of water left to rot in the island's sun going viral. That water, purchased by FEMA, never made it to hurricane victims. The mayor of San Juan telling ABC News he never got it. He never will.
Oops, he did it again. Here he goes again. You know, he doesn't understand that this isn't about him and about his ego.
Between South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia, more than 6,000 National Guardsmen have been activated ahead of Hurricane Florence. More are on standby, and Coast Guard search and rescue helicopters have been moved to Savannah, Georgia, in preparation. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Well, this week marks the first anniversary of Hurricane Irma tearing through South Florida, but it also means it's been a year since 14 people lost their lives days after the storm at that nursing home. Now, 12 of the 14 deaths were later ruled homicides, but no one was ever charged. Families say FPL is to blame for not showing up until long after the nursing home had been evacuated. But state officials say administrators didn't have the proper generators in working order. FPL says it urged customers to call 911 if it was a life-threatening situation. Now, a year later, that nursing home is one of hundreds across the state still without generators.
Here on the Suncoast, workers are making progress renourishing the northern end of Longboat Key. 55 truckloads of sand delivered so far, and more is on the way. Nearly 30,000 tons of sand expected to be brought in total to help with the erosion throughout that area. This area was last renourished 2 years ago.
And an update now on DeSoto County's ongoing battle with the Mosaic Fertilizer Company regarding the company's push to mine phosphate. County leaders and Mosaic have agreed on one thing so far: to push back the date to form a special committee that will weigh in on DeSoto's denial of the company's bid. Now, the third-party group is supposed to give an unbiased opinion to the idea of rezoning more than 14,000 acres of farmland for phosphate mining. They have until December to choose the people who will be a part of that committee.
New developments involving Mote Marine's plan to build a new $130 million aquarium at Nathan Benderson Park. Sarasota County Commissioners approved Mote's request to separate its land use negotiations from the funding request. Mote Marine is trying to secure a long-term lease for 5 acres of land to build and operate the facility. Money may come from the county's tourist tax revenue. Last June, the county hired a consultant to do an independent review of Mote's business plan. The consultant will now submit a final report by next month.
Well, good news in school safety. The number of guardians hired to protect students in Manatee County schools continues to grow. Tomorrow, 13 more guardians will get their certificate from the Manatee County School Board. Next week, there'll be 31 guardians on duty and 2 lead guardians. 7 more will also start training on Monday. Now, the county's been working to fill 40 positions now for months as part of the Stoneman-Douglas Safety Act, which requires every school in the state to have an armed security officer on campus.
The Sarasota County Sheriff's Office is now using a drone to help with investigations. Deputies put the flying camera to use in a staged operation where they were called to Nathan Benderson Park for a missing 12-year-old boy in this drill, wearing a red shirt that he disappeared during a crowded event. But instead of searching on foot, they launched this Dragonfly Commander drone, and within minutes they were able to spot the so-called missing child.
It's certainly not going to be a substitute for our Air 1 vehicle, our helicopter. What it will do is offer supplemental overwatch, if you will, during the inclement weather events.
Right now, 3 deputies are trained to operate the $40,000 drone, and one of them remains on call 24/7.
Well, do you like to shop at night? Well, for those of you that don't have to go to bed at 7 o'clock like Ray and I, the Westfield Siesta Key Mall is getting ready to host an outdoor nighttime market that starts on October 12th. The market's going to feature more than 60 local vendors, everything from fresh produce and artisan foods. The night market's going to kick off at 5:30 every 2nd and 4th Friday from October to December. It's going to be in the courtyard area facing Siesta Drive.
7 o'clock, really?
Right? What is that life like? What does 7:45 look like? Right?
I'm closer to 9:45 myself. Wild. Still ahead on Good Morning Suncoast, the latest red tide conditions. We'll have a live update from Manatee County.
And we'll tell you about the latest growing trend among baby boomers. Medical marijuana. We'll explain. But first,
here is a peek outside at the Rosemary District. Some pretty buildings as we look downtown towards Sarasota. Let's get the beach forecast now from John Scalzi.
Yeah, so this afternoon, I think we're going to see a temperature that'll come in the upper 80s along the beach. We'll look for a temperature that'll also be accompanied by a UV index of 10. Of course, the red tide report indicates some pretty bad conditions in some of our concentrations of red tide in the water, and the red tide status, according to Mote Marine from spotters, again indicates some areas that have intense amount of red tide toxin in the air. We're going to see a wind shift coming our way that could make matters worse. We'll talk about that in just a few.
Judy here, I think, I think hospice was a tremendous source of support for her.
Absolutely. With Jennifer and Kimberly and Liza's constant contact with us, coming in, just knowing that there was someone with knowledge there to back us up, to answer our questions, it made a world of difference.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Gettle's got what you're looking for at Gettle.com. 17 new car brands, over 1,000 used vehicles, prices and payments you can afford. Credit help if you need it, and they pay cash for your old car. Plus, Gettle Pre-Owned Certified Plus means buying with peace of mind. Need service? Gettle's got that too. Gettle's got it. Visit Gettle.com.
That is a pretty good breakfast. You're not even eating.
Not hungry.
No? Why not? What's up?
Kath and I knew that Jenny'd been partying a bit. Found out she tried heroin.
Most people don't know what to say about drugs, but we do. Visit us at drugfree.org.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason. Because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Now, your ABC 7 First Alert weather forecast with meteorologist John Scalzi.
We continue to have an east wind blowing at this hour, east-northeast coming in at about 7, and that too will bring us those afternoon showers and thunderstorms that eventually drift back to the coastline from where they grow in inland areas in the afternoon. By, I'd say 3 o'clock, we'd start to factor in a pretty decent rain chance, continue it on till 7 p.m., and then around, I'd say 8 or 9 o'clock, we'll see those showers begin to drift back close to the immediate coastline. The Titan radar right now not showing a whole lot of action going on over land. We have a few scattered showers out in Gulf waters, none of them thunderstorms though. Yesterday, boy, we had a lot of thunderstorm activity. We could see more thunderstorms again today, but Florence, one of the systems we're watching, may actually help dry us out over the next several days. We have disturbance 95L still forecast to head toward Texas, and we have Joyce now out in the far Atlantic along with Helene and Isaac. So we've got 4 named storms out in the Atlantic Basin. That's pretty unusual for a season which was initially forecast to be pretty light. So impressive. And if we get another named storm, we'd have 5, and I don't think that has ever happened, really. We're looking at Florence's forecast over the course of the next several days, which includes a lot more of a ragged-looking system today than it was, say, 2 days ago. You may recall hearing that perhaps we would be seeing a Category 5 storm. Well, now we've got a Category 2 storm with 110-mile-an-hour winds, and frankly, it's not looking that healthy. In fact, further decrease in intensity is suggested. If the winds are, which right now are 110, decrease down to 96, we'll have a Category 1 storm, and it's forecast to be that as it moves close to shore or onshore. maybe a Category 2 storm just offshore. But the big problem with this storm is its size and its speed. As it gets closer to shore, it's going to slow down, and that is going to create a real problem. Forecast tracks pretty much remain unchanged. They've been pretty good over the last couple of days and kind of homing in on a solution. The eye of the storm is now visible on radar, and it's looking ragged. In fact, there's one side of the storm that's exposed, the eye wall. So not a sign of any kind of rapid development, certainly, and in fact, maybe a sign of perhaps some weakening with time. Still some pretty good thunderstorm activity, and this forward motion that you're seeing here is going to slow appreciably over the next 24 hours. West wind coming in at about 10 knots today. Over the course of the next several days, we'll look for about a 30% chance of showers, decreasing tomorrow to probably next to nothing and holding there for Saturday as well because of that drier air filtering in. Then perhaps as the system Florence begins to weaken and sink a little bit further to the south, perhaps even into northern Georgia, we might see a few of those rain bands kind of move through Gulf waters and into our area. As we see that, we'll up the rain chance just a little bit for Monday and Tuesday to about 50%. Back to you.
Thank you, John. Let's take a look outside and check your first alert traffic. Starting off in Manatee County, not too much going on in there. State Road 70, a little delay right there around 301, but not much else going on. In Sarasota, the top half, not too much going on there either. No real major delays going on. A little farther south, if your commute is going to take you to 75 or 41 going south, those roads are also looking pretty clear at this hour. It is 5:45, and that is your first alert traffic. Well, looking ahead, speaking of traffic, in October, FDOT is going to start working on changing the State Road 70 interchange near I-75 from its current design to a modified diamond interchange. I-75 will also be widened to 8 lanes from north of University Parkway to south of State Road 64. Now you can check out all the plans and get all your questions answered. They're having a public meeting tonight at Manatee Technical College in Bradenton from 5 to 7 p.m. Well, it has been months since red tide showed up on the Suncoast this season. A lot of people, you've been here for a long time, saying that it's some of the most severe that they've actually seen in years.
Yeah, worst since about 2006 probably. Marla Spence has the latest state report. She's live now along the Palmasola Causeway in Manatee County. Marla, what do you have for us?
Guys, the beach looks clean compared to what we've been seeing in some time, as there are only a few dead fish and wildlife debris, but the Florida Fish and Wildlife says that is in no way any signs that red tide is slowing down. FWC's newest report shows high concentrations of red tide in samples collected along the shore in Sarasota, Manatee, and Charlotte counties. Marine experts say this is an increase from last week in Sarasota and Charlotte counties. Residents and businesses continue to be impacted by red tide, and one church on Anna Maria Island is doing its part to help as much as possible. 2 weeks ago, Roser Church opened its doors to restaurant staff and just about anyone who's been impacted by red tide, and they have been giving away food from the church's food pantry.
When there's a situation like this, we open up to the restaurants, to people who have been hurt from the smell or food and not able to eat.
Charles Wade with Roser Church says just about all the churches on the island have been coming together and helping those in need throughout the area. FWC will be releasing another red tide report tomorrow, and we will keep you updated with the latest if there are any significant changes with that report. Reporting live at the Palmasola Causeway, I'm Marla Spence for ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
Marla, this year's red tide's been awfully hard on marine life. In fact, since July, Mote Marine's stranding investigations respond to 17 dead bottlenose dolphins and almost 200 stranded sea turtles. So far, samples from 10 of Mote's recovered dolphins have tested positive for red tide neurotoxins. Now, if you see a distressed dolphin or turtle, call Mote's investigation program at 988-0212.
And remember, you, of course, can find all of our red tide coverage, including answers to some of your most asked questions, online at mysuncoast.com. Well, in Health Smart, the latest growing trend finds baby boomers getting high on life.
What do you mean? Reporter Reed Binion explains how seniors are getting in on the cannabis craze.
Baby boomers are putting down the crochet needles and picking up the pipe, the marijuana pipe, that is. According to a national survey on drug use and health, about 9% of adults between 50 and 64 used marijuana at least once during the 12-month survey period. And for adults over 65, about 3%. The study, published in the Journal of Drug and Alcohol Dependence, surveyed nearly 18,000 adults across the country and found the number of cannabis users has doubled over nearly a decade. One of the authors says that while marijuana use is gaining popularity with older Americans, most aren't newbies when it comes to pot use or other substances. Nearly 5% of middle-aged marijuana users abused alcohol, and 3.5% misused opioids. Among older adults, 1.5% abused alcohol, and 1.2% misused opioids. For today's Health Minute, I'm Reed Binion.
In entertainment news, Henry Cavill is reportedly hanging up his red cape. The Hollywood Reporter says it looks like the British actor is out as Superman in the DC universe. He's played Superman in 3 films so far, but talks apparently broke down for a Superman cameo in the upcoming Shazam series. Cavill, not my favorite Superman, is pretty busy these days as well. He recently co-starred, he was just in Mission Impossible Fallout with Tom Cruise, and he's going to star in a new Netflix series called The Witcher.
Some of Robin Williams' most prized possessions will be up for auction soon. It includes autographed scripts, awards, props, furniture, artwork, more than 40 watches. A portion of the proceeds will benefit the Juilliard School and the Wounded Warrior Project. Sotheby's will host the auction October 4th and says the whole lot could fetch up to $3 million. Robin Williams passed away in 2014 at the age of 63.
Oh, finally, space travel is on the horizon, but there are some very deep, pressing, important issues that need to get figured out before all of us common folk get to experience space travel in the future. First, Ray, how will we celebrate when we get to space? True story here. A French champagne house is taking that test seriously. Someone is actually getting paid to create a bubbly drink fit for zero gravity. Now the idea, this is kind of cool, the fizz will come out of the bottle as foam and can either be caught in glasses or slurped straight out of the
look
air.
At that.
Isn't
Catch
that
'em,
cool?
huh? Yeah, that's
Isn't that
different.
Cool? This puts a whole new meaning on wine.
Yes.
Isn't that kind of cool though?
Are there flight attendants and beer nuts and all those?
That's the vision in my head.
All right.
Yeah, I can't wait.
5:51 will update the day's top news headlines straight ahead. But first, this is a look outside our studios. That shot is so pretty, and I'm sounding repetitive each day I say that, but I just can't believe that's an actual picture.
It is really beautiful. It looks more like a nighttime postcard out there. You are watching Good Morning Suncoast. We're right back here on ABC 7.
What do you get when you cross your tired, aching back with this fragile egg? The Egg Sitter Cushion, an amazing new flex cushion that supports your backside and spine so well you can sit on an egg without breaking it. Incredible!
You want me to sit on this egg? Okay. I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't even feel it. It didn't even break? Oh, I was wondering about that. Now that's a good cushion.
The honeycomb design is constructed of Elasticor that absorbs pressure points by collapsing in on itself. That's why even this egg won't break under direct pressure. Now long days at the office will be more comfortable, dinner more enjoyable, and painful car rides a thing of the past. Get your Egg Sitter Support Cushion for just $39.99. It comes with a free non-slip washable cover and our 10-year comfort guarantee. But wait, call right now and you can get a second cushion. Just pay separate fee. Call now.
Call 1-800-232-1564. That's 1-800-232-1564. Call now or go to eggsitter.com. Order now.
Stay connected to your clients and new customers using ABC7 Digital Media Services. Our team of professionals provide a wide array of digital services to help you get the most out of your website. We specialize in building and helping you maintain the most effective digital solutions for your business. It's vital that your online presence stands out, so our experts will equip you with the best resources available. Trust ABC7 Digital Media Services to give you the right tools to grow your business.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield.
When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
This is your brain. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
Yeah, I have questions.
Prescription drugs aren't as bad as street drugs, right?
Weed's legal, isn't it?
Drinking is worse than smoking weed.
Isn't it?
Why is heroin so addictive?
Molly just makes you feel happy.
I have questions.
Mom?
Dad, did you ever try drugs?
They're going to ask. Be ready. Go to drugfree.org. A message from Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Pets bring so much joy to our lives. They're loyal, they're protective, and smart. Yet as smart as our pets might be, they can't advocate for themselves, especially in the event of a natural disaster. During Hurricane Harvey, many families were separated from their pets. That's why it's important your pet is part of your family's disaster preparedness plan. Talk to your veterinarian and visit banfieldfoundation.org/disaster. Don't save it for a rainy day.
Here are the headlines. A man suspected in a string of bank robberies between Venice and Cape Coral has been shot and killed by police in Kentucky at a rest stop on I-75. Sheriff deputies in Scott County say Edward Reynolds shot one of their deputies first, leaving him in serious condition.
Plus, with Hurricane Florence nearing the East Coast, if you have flights to any of those areas over the next few days, travel agents advise make sure you're signed up for email or text alerts from airlines to check on your flights.
Manatee County's acting school superintendent, Cynthia Saunders, has reportedly suspended 2 more administrators, bringing the total to 3. It involves a costly implementation of a new software program. And now here's John Scalzi.
So the weather headlines that we're going to cover in the next hour and online. East wind shifts west, could make the red tide a bigger issue. Florence weakens, and we'll have some drier air moving in for the weekend. Back to you.
Okay, much more news next hour here. Good morning, Suncoast.
That's right. It all continues. We'll have the latest on Florence as well. So we've got more to come.
Yes, we do. Stay right there. Talk to you soon.